Howdy friends, welcome to Free Range Ted. As you might have guessed, I am Ted, and today we are making pumpkin pie pudding. Let's go. To a food processor, you are going to add 2 boxes of instant vanilla pudding. Next, I added 2 cups of ice cold milk. I used whole milk. You can use whatever kind of milk you like. Next up, add 1 can of pumpkin. This is not the same thing as pumpkin pie filling. Pumpkin pie filling already has all the seasoning and spices in it. You could do that, but I like to have control over that, so I add those seasonings later. Speaking of which, here is pumpkin spice. I used somewhere between 1 and 2 tablespoons. I didn't really measure it. I like to do it by taste, so definitely taste it and add more if you need it. Next up, about a teaspoon or so of vanilla bean paste. Again, I didn't measure it, just went with my gut. You could also use vanilla extract here, and you know I do love Mexican vanilla. Finally, we'll add a pinch of kosher salt. Not too much, we're just trying to balance out the sweetness. Now we'll give that a spin and make sure everything gets incorporated. Now be sure you scrape down the sides so you catch any of those little pockets of pudding that might not have gotten blended in. And then taste. Ooh, that's good. Ooh. Now I'm gonna add just a touch of heavy cream so that this has a little bit more body, and I'm gonna add another little pinch of salt just to adjust that seasoning a little bit more after the taste. Give it one more spin, and this will be good to go. Now take a second to admire your work before you push that aside and get on to the next part. Just like you would do with a batch of banana pudding, we are going to layer the bottom of this with some vanilla wafers. Make sure you go all the way around, fit them in where you can. Depending on the size of your dish, it may not work out exactly even, but I like to use whole cookies here, no half-stepping. Now you're gonna add a layer of your pumpkin mixture. So grab a spatula and put a big old heaping pile right in the middle and start to spread that around. You're gonna push that pumpkin all the way out to the edges. The idea here is that you are going to cover all of those vanilla wafers so that you can't see them anymore. And just when you think you've gotten enough, add more. This layer should be thick. We're gonna go back and top this with something else later, but you wanna make sure you have covered it nicely. Now you're gonna go around the outside edge and you're gonna be tucking in some vanilla wafers all the way around the outside wall. Put them right next to each other, overlap them a little bit if you need to, but you're just gonna make a ring all the way around. Then, more pumpkin. By the time you're done, you're gonna have a layer of pumpkin that covers all of those vanilla wafers that are along the side wall. And speaking of vanilla wafers, I want to make some that have an icing on them. For that, I'm going to melt up a couple of tablespoons of some butter. I'll use about a cup of confectioner's sugar here. To that, I'm going to add some maple honey. You could also use just straight up maple syrup if you like. I'm going to be adding just a tablespoon or so. To that, I'm also going to add in some more of the vanilla bean paste. Again, you could use vanilla extract if that's what you have. It's just a little bit, so not too heavy here. And we'll finish this off with some heavy cream, maybe just a tablespoon or 2. It's just enough to make this into a little bit of a liquid form when we mix it, like I'm gonna do now. Yeah, we'll just give it a quick taste and see if this is any good. Maybe some salt? Pumpkin pie spice? Yeah. Now one more mix and we should be good to go. Now it's drizzle time, and I kinda made a mess out of that, and that's okay. I'm not ashamed. Still tastes the same in the end, but could have been a little bit prettier when it was all said and done, but here's how I did it. Fixed. While the icing sets up, let's get back to building our pudding. We need to put some whipped cream on this, and I like to use the Cool Whip Extra Creamy. It's so thick and delicious. Love it. Now, I didn't let this thaw out quite enough, so it's a little bit extra thick and kind of hard to spread. I could have put this in the fridge and let it thaw out a little bit more and would have made my life a little bit easier. But as you can see, it turned out really nice. We're just gonna put a big layer on there and go edge to edge. Make sure you go all the way around and cover it nice and even. Then we are going to decorate it with our fantastic vanilla wafers that we drizzled. You see, I got rid of the weird one in the middle. I just went ahead and ate it. Now, just like before, we are going to put a ring of vanilla wafers around the outside edge. These are ones that I dipped halfway in the icing. You can do that, but you don't have to. I just thought it would look nice, and plus it helps keep those from getting soggy. You know I like to have a little bit of crunch. And there you have it, folks. Pumpkin pie pudding. Now you can get a big old scoop of it in a bowl and drizzle a little bit more of that maple honey on top if you got it. Man, that is good. I hope you'll give this recipe a try. If you do, let me know how it goes.